All right, you guys, before we get into today's episode of the pod, you guys have to subscribe because I'm looking at you and you are not subscribed to the channel yet. And also, you have to hit the notification bell because you're not going to know when I post if you don't have notifications when I post. And then also share the video, you guys, so all your family, friends, anybody you may know can tune into this podcast. And then also like the video so I know you guys are liking these episodes. And then also comment down below who you guys would like to see on this podcast. It could be anybody. Just let me know. And then also follow my social medias. I'm going to pop them on the screen so you guys can stay up to date with everything to do with this podcast. And then also check out the Spotify version as well. It's going to be in the description. So click that link if you want to listen to the Spotify version. And then also the take.sport.blog. I am a sports writer. So go ahead and check out those articles. If you guys do not click that link, you guys are going to be missing out on some of the best articles you'll ever read. So make sure to go click that link below. But let's go ahead and get into this pod, you guys.
Welcome to another episode of the Take Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson, of course. And in today's episode, I got University of Miami, Florida tight end Jackson Carver joining me on. Appreciate you taking the time, man.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
So dude, last time I saw you, you were committed to Notre Dame for lacrosse, and now you're at Miami playing for one of the most prestigious football programs in college football history. So kind of tell me about, the decision making between, decommitting from Notre Dame and now committing to Miami to play football.
Yeah, of course. So I grew up in Minnesota playing hockey all throughout the fall and winter, so I never had time to play football growing up. It was always a sport I wanted to get into, but just didn't have the time for it. So transferring to Carver midway through my junior year, the next fall I wasn't going to be playing hockey. So fall my senior year was the one shot that I had to go out for football. And that summer I just went all into training and went into the fall with, no expectations, but just went all in and turned out really well. I had a lot of fun with it and decided that's what I wanted to pursue.
So like when you were playing football, so you said you had no expectations. So was it a surprise for you to get as much attention as you did from those big time schools? Because you had like 33 Division I offers. That's insane for only playing 1 year of football. Like, was it like, wow?
Yeah, it was definitely very eye-opening. Football recruitment was much different than lacrosse recruitment was, for sure. But throughout the summer, right before the season, I had a jugs machine available to me, so I was using that every day. I was in the weight room every day. I was training every day, and I would take videos of myself catching on the jugs machine, and my coach at Carver, Coach Dorrell, he would send out videos of me catching. He would send out my lacrosse highlight tape, my hockey film, and that's kind of what got some coaches interested. So I was able to go work out at Indiana University before I even had my first football practice, and get in front of those coaches, and they offered me a preferred walk-on, which later turned into a scholarship. So having that opportunity before I had my first practice was pretty incredible. And scholarships didn't really start coming until after the season. And then once I had declared for postgraduate year, they started coming in left and right. So I was extremely blessed to be to have all those opportunities, and I'm extremely grateful that I ended up here.
So what was your family's reaction to you decommitting from Notre Dame and deciding to go the football route before you had the scholarship offers?
So I didn't decommit until I think middle of January, which by that point I must have had maybe 10 scholarship offers. So I was not willing to give up Notre Dame for something uncertain. So I stayed committed, stayed loyal to Notre Dame, kept them in the loop of what was going on, because they were definitely aware of it. Notre Dame football wanted me to stay there and play both and all that. So when it came down to it, it was an easy decision. Lacrosse isn't full rides. Football's full rides. Football's a much bigger stage, much bigger brand. And I just enjoyed playing football much more, because it was so new. I was still learning, and I was still just having fun with it,
Yeah.
and not really taking it too seriously. And that's why it wasn't too hard of a decision on me, you know.
Why did it take so long for you to get on the football field? Was it just, you know, lacrosse was occupying your time so much, or you just?
Yeah, so back in Minnesota, I mean, I was playing hockey throughout the fall. AAA and Tier 1 season was throughout the fall, so I didn't have time to play football.
Oh, okay. So what was the one thing about football that you liked a lot more than lacrosse? Because lacrosse is still a physical sport. It's just not exactly like football.
Right. I mean, every game I was getting penalized way too much just for being too physical in lacrosse. You don't really see a lot of 6'6" lacrosse players out there. So definitely football just definitely let me go out and play my game, be physical, be more competitive, and I didn't have to hold back. So that was the biggest thing that I loved about it. And just the game in general. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just a lot of fun. Every practice, I looked forward to going to practice. I looked forward to games. I mean,
Yeah.
couldn't keep away from the field, you know.
Do you like, because in lacrosse, you don't really play in front of big crowds. So do you like the football since you're in front of like a bunch of people every single game?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more fun environment for sure, and a lot more eyes on the game just in general. That's kind of what made the recruitment kind of crazy, was all the fans on Twitter and Instagram, reaching out, and all that stuff was pretty eye-opening.
Yeah. So when you were kind of started getting recruited, like what were you like thinking? Where was your head at the beginning? Like were you just kind of visiting all kinds of schools and just seeing what was out there, or did you kind of already know where you wanted to go?
I had no idea. So first place I visited was obviously Indiana, because my coach had that connection and he got me there before the season started. And then when the season started progressing, I don't remember the exact order of these, but Notre Dame, the lacrosse coaches had got me in contact with the football coaches, and I had gone to I think two of their game day visits, was able to watch two of their games, and then went to a game at IU, and then towards the end of the season went to West Virginia game, and that's when I got my first scholarship offer, and that was just crazy. Like I was in shock. Like I didn't. I was just, it was my first year. I didn't really know. I was still learning all the rules of the game, and these coaches were
Yeah.
trusting me with a scholarship offer. So I took an official there. Wasn't really a fit. I was still committed to Notre Dame at that point, and I wasn't willing to give it up for West Virginia. But then once the once January came, I started to get some Ivy Leagues. Minnesota offered. And then throughout February, it started to pick up a lot more with some of the bigger schools in the ACC, a couple Big Tens, and then if I'm remembering correctly, I think it was around March where I started visiting a ton of schools, trying to get everywhere that I could, that I thought there would be some interest in, because I mean, a lot of these kids in the football world have been going through recruitment for the past 2, 3, 4 years, and
Yeah.
I had about 6 months to do it. So
Yeah.
we I would say almost every weekend we were trying to get to a new school, and sometimes even two in a weekend, and just trying to get everywhere. It was a lot of travel. It was a lot. So Miami came around later in the spring. They were,
Was
I
that
don't
one of
know.
the last ones that you visited?
Yeah, so it was one of my last ones. I kind of had it narrowed down. At that point, I was really focusing on LSU, Iowa, Wisconsin was still in there, some of the Big Tens like that.
Yeah.
But Miami called, and at that point, I really had no idea about the history of Miami. I wasn't really big into watching football or knowing the history about football, especially college football.
Yeah.
didn't really know much about the history at Miami. But when I told my parents, my dad was quite excited about that one. Um, so that weekend we made it down to Miami, and just right away I was blown away. It was not what I expected at all. The coaches were all extremely welcoming. The facilities are beautiful. Like, if it really felt like a family, and so that was when Miami really got into it, was after my first visit.
Yep.
So it was still LSU, Iowa, and Miami for me at that point. And then waited until summer. I went back to LSU. I went back to Miami for each of their spring games. And then the first week of summer, I took my official at Miami, and just immediately I knew that was the place for me. So that week after I got off my official, I had committed.
So when you were visiting Miami, what were you expecting? Were you expecting the coaches to be as nice as they were, or?
I mean, it's Miami. Like, I had never really known about the school.
Yeah.
Didn't really know like the U. I wouldn't have known that it was like even nicknamed the U. That's how kind of out of
Oh
tune
my
I was with
goodness.
kind of how out of tune I was with college football. So when I came down, I was like, oh, it's really Coral Gables, and so Miami Beach is 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes that way, and
Yeah.
kind of out in a really nice area with just really peaceful campus. Coaches extremely welcoming. Never felt that kind of energy with another coaching staff before. So it was extremely eye-opening, and both my parents felt the same way at that point.
So you committed to Miami, like you were 100% like, okay, I feel like this is the place where I can develop and become the player that, everyone wants me to become. Because, so what are your expectations now? Because you are now there, you've been training, you said you were learning the playbook. It's like, how is like, being around, your teammates now full time and learning the playbook? Because a college playbook is a lot to digest from talking to high school players who were transitioning into college, like that played high school football for a long period of time. They say it's way different. So for you only playing 1 year of football, you're just learning the game itself. So like just kind of talk about that experience.
Yeah. I mean, my experience in the past like 2 months that I've been here has been amazing. I couldn't say anything negative about Miami, and I don't think I really could have chose a better place to be. But as far as football goes, I mean, um, I've never been pushed so hard in my life, and like that's the reason I'm here. I love every second of it. I love that grind that they put us through. That's that's what we're here for. That's what we came to do. And as far as the playbook goes, I mean, I would say my biggest strength is probably my brain. I've been learning the playbook real well. Getting there early, staying late to go over film, go over technique, all that stuff. So the coaches here are extremely helpful. I could ask any one of the coaches on the offensive side, and they would be able to help me with the playbook. And I mean, if you're behind, they're gonna get you caught up. You just got to ask for the help.
Yep.
But my biggest strength right now is my brain and learning the playbook and knowing what to do. So that's what I've been focusing on, and also just getting bigger, getting stronger, getting faster with the strength program.
Yeah. So how many days a week are you guys training or practicing? Like what's kind of a daily schedule that you guys would kind of go through since it's not the season?
Yeah, so it'll start changing with spring ball starting on Saturday. But up till now, we've been conditioning Tuesday, Thursday, and in the weight room Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm always at the field Saturday and Sunday, just getting extra work. But with the team is just Monday through Friday.
Is it like, so obviously it's different from lacrosse. You don't know what the lacrosse schedule would have been like, but do you think like football is a little bit more than just, because lacrosse, I mean, I'm sure the weight program is not as intense in lacrosse. It's like, have you really lifted weights like that prior to?
No, I've never really been in a true strength program. I've never been really consistent in the weight room because I've never really had to. I've always just been bigger, and you don't need to lift 300 pounds to play hockey or lacrosse. So I've definitely made gains since I've gotten here, but still need to put in a lot of work in the weight room.
What do you think you've improved on the most since you've even been like in Miami?
I mean, my routes have definitely got a lot cleaner. My technique has sharpened up quite a bit. I've been hitting jugs machine and getting some extra catches in every day. So my hands have been improved, and just from watching film and sitting with the coaches and going over plays, why we do this play, why we do this play against this coverage, against this front, that kind of thing has really improved my mental side of the game, and I've been learning a lot more as well.
So what was like one part of football that you were like the most worried about, like, trying to grasp the concept of?
I mean, when I was going on visits last spring, I would come into the head coaches or the offensive coordinators room and see playbooks this thick and be like, how am I gonna learn everything? But
Yeah.
it's with the coaching staff here, they install it all on like a good pace, and I mean it's not too bad. We're gonna keep adding stuff to the playbook and keep learning more, but so far it's been pretty manageable.
So who are some players that have kind of taken you under your wing so far and kind of, helped you get, up to speed with things as well, besides the coaches?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're all really tight, especially in the tight end room. All of us are extremely tight, up from Elijah and our and Cam McCormick all the way down to me and Riley as freshmen. They've really taken us in, and like if we ever need help, like they're here to coach us as well and help work through things together. Because I mean, if we want to have a good team, everybody's got to be on their game. So the older guys
Yeah.
are going to help the younger guys get to that level so that we can all be successful.
So how many guys do you have in the tight end room right now?
I think we have 7.
Okay. So you guys got some people in there.
Yeah, we added 3 tight ends this year. We lost one to the draft. Will Mallory's at the combine this weekend. So we lost him, and then we added 3 more in a grad transfer, and me and Riley as freshmen.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. So like since you're in there, you're kind of trying to soak, everything in. So like so you're just kind of listening, like you obviously ask like probably the most questions in that room. So like are you just like super curious about, just the game, like, how am I supposed to do this? Like, because like I'm sure when you're practicing, it's just, you guys have a section where you guys are just tight ends and you guys are just running routes, catching the ball. It's like, how has that kind of helped you, get closer with your teammates?
Yeah, I mean, specifically like Cam McCormick, he's going into his 8th year of college football, so he's just like an encyclopedia of knowledge for football. So he's great to have in our rooms, just that knowledge and that like perfect technique, perfect like knows what to do. All that stuff is extremely helpful for someone new to the game like me. So just been soaking in everything, like you said, and just picking up on the little things and watching what they're watching, so that like when I'm in there, when I get more used to it, it's just second nature for me, like it is for them.
Yeah, exactly. Did you say 8 years of college football?
I believe so. I think he's going into his 8th, and he has 1 more left after that as well.
What?
Mhm.
Wait, so COVID year? How does he have 8 years? That's insane.
He has a few medical red shirts, his freshman red shirt, COVID year. So it just adds up to that.
Jeez. I was like, what? So, coming from lacrosse, you're already fast. I watched your high school film. You can catch the ball. You're quick off the line of scrimmage. But like, so figured out, so basically run blocking Is that like something you are trying to still get used to? Because like I saw a couple times you just completely pancake people in high school, but
Yeah, I mean, I love the physicality part of the game. I love blocking. Like it's I don't like I'm not one of those guys who's like only wants to be lined up out wide. Like I love putting my hand on the ground and going head to head against someone. I definitely got to sharpen up my technique. Back in high school, the guys aren't nearly as big or strong, so I could
yeah,
just get by with bad technique and just overpowering kids just because of sheer toughness. But
yeah.
that's not going to work anymore as much as it did. So picking up on technique and learning the steps and learning the different all the different steps for different fronts and different plays. I mean, all that stuff. So I'm definitely improving that part of my game right now, as well as the rest of my game, just as a whole.
Yeah. So have you noticed like since you did play lacrosse and like you are one of the are you like one of the faster tight ends?
I mean, it's hard to say. We've got some pretty fast kids. But I mean, I wouldn't call myself slow compared to them, you know.
Yeah. So when you're like practicing and everything and have you guys like scrimmaged like in practice, like going like 7-on-7 or anything like that?
Yeah, we'll do a little 7-on-7 on our own, just outside of practice and stuff like that.
So are there any guys on like the defensive end of the ball in Miami that are kind of, pushing you to get better and kind of telling you, how to do things differently?
I mean, they all are. I've never like up until now, I've never lined up out wide. I've never lined up in the hip of a tackle. Like so, learning different releases and like picking up on like press releases and when I have a senior linebacker or a senior corner guarding me, like it's extremely helpful to go through those reps so that I can just learn can just it's just trial by fire. I learn stuff by doing stuff. So
Yep.
just they're all really good. They're all insane athletes and football players. So it's been a lot of fun to compete with those guys.
So when you were coming in to Miami before you committed, I saw something that said you were supposed to visit Alabama before you came to Miami. So you committed before going to Alabama. Why didn't you go and take that visit?
Yeah, so I had a visit lined up for the week after my Miami official visit, and they were excited to get me down there or whatever. But right after coming off my Miami visit, I was like, there's not a school in the world that could change my mind. And going and you know SEC, ACC, like they're different. It's different. Like at Miami, it's a real family. But some of the SEC schools that I visited, it's more of a business reign, and I just feel more confident in the Miami coaching staff than any other coaching staff to develop me and work with me and get me caught up since with my lack of experience.
Yeah. So with like the lack of experience, like you're gonna get experience in spring ball, kind of like playing in a game setting. So like what are some things you're trying to get prepared for, like physically, mentally, before you can kind of be ready for spring ball? Like what are your goals?
Yeah, I mean, spring ball starts Saturday, so I don't know how much I can do before then. Get ready, but just throughout the past 2 months, I've just been working on just learning the playbook and knowing what to do, reading coverages, reading fronts, so that I'm not hesitating when I get up to the line. I know what I can do and I can attack with full speed. And also just staying in the workout, staying in the weight room, pushing myself in the weight room, and being confident with my hands and my route running ability and my blocking technique, that kind of stuff. Just making sure I'm ready. I'm not gonna look like an idiot out there, you know.
Yeah. Would you say like, coming off the line and like lining up like a little more out has been the toughest adjustment coming into college football?
It's definitely an adjustment. I mean, um, I won't. I'm up for any challenge, so it's not like I'm still like I'm scared of it. You know, I love challenging myself and lining up out wide and going against the smaller, faster DBs, and it's definitely been tough all around. But I love the challenge, and I'm continuing to work on everything.
Absolutely. So have you watched any NFL guys that, you try to, see what they do to get off the line quicker or how they run routes? Like, is there anyone you've kind of watched over these past couple months to try to learn?
Yeah, I mean the way that George Kittle comes off the line and blocks bigger DNs, and how he just uses like out leverages guys even though he's maybe a little smaller than the big DNs. And then the way that Kelsey finds holes in the coverages and knows where to sit, knows where to keep going, and that kind of stuff to get the ball in space is very impressive. So I've been kind of been watching those two things on to improve my game.
So for you, do you think right now at this stage that running a route against man is easier or against zone?
I mean, it kind of depends on what the route is, what the point of the route is. But I feel confident enough in my athletic ability that I can beat someone one on one. And if I can't beat them with speed, I'll beat them with my size, and I'll box them out for a jump ball or something like that.
Yeah.
And with zone, I feel confident in my mind and my mental side of the game, that I can find a hole, know like use intuition to find where to sit, where to keep running the route, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just takes time to learn because I mean, you're so new to the sport. I just honestly, I can't believe that you are like, sometimes do you just like kind of sit, like, are you like on the field and you're just like, wow, I can't believe I'm actually here?
Yes, I'll be sitting in meetings, and I'll like look over the wall, and I'll see I'll see Jimmy Graham, I'll see Ed Reed on the wall, I'll see all that stuff, and I'm like, I'm in Miami, I'm playing college football, like what, like I would have never guessed, but I'm extremely blessed to be in this situation, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
How do you like Florida so far?
It's been amazing. I've made it to the beach only once so far, but golfing is great. The weather's always nice. I could use a little colder. I could use it a little colder sometimes, but it's much better than the snowstorm back home right now. So not complaining.
Yeah, because I was watching your lacrosse highlights and you were like the only kid wearing shorts. And like literally you had no long sleeves on.
Yeah, no, it's I was always good at playing in the cold because I could use it to my advantage, knowing that other kids were too cold and I could just play my game. But now I've got to get used to playing in extremely hot temperatures, knowing that I can play through it and other kids are complaining about it being too hot. Try to use that to my advantage now.
Was that like kind of, did the temperature of the schools kind of depend on where you were going to go, or that wasn't really?
I mean, that was not really involved in in my decision making at all. It was the one thing I was a little hesitant about, but it wasn't enough to make me want to turn down an opportunity like this.
Yeah, exactly. So at the end of the year, where do you want to see yourself, kind of develop into going into next season? Kind of
Yeah,
term a little bit.
yeah, of course. I mean, by the end of the spring, I hope to be up to 235, 240, hopefully. Keep putting on weight, keep getting bigger, keep lifting more, hitting bigger numbers in the weight room, and then just having the playbook down like the back of my hand. That's the biggest thing for me. Would be to have it down. So it's like I said, like it's second nature. So I can go into the fall, and if I get an opportunity, I'm ready. I don't have to get ready. I need to stay ready.
So so you were an official freshman? Or are you like a red shirt?
So I'm an early enrollee. So I'll be a
Okay.
true freshman next fall.
Oh, okay. Because you played in Connecticut for a year, didn't you?
So I went out there and before the season started, I actually got hurt, so I wasn't able to play at all throughout the season. I was supposed to go out there so I could play another season and get more experience, but it was more of a mental year since I was hurt the whole year.
What was that injury?
Dislocated my kneecap.
Is that affecting you at all right now?
Not at all.
How long did it take you to recover from that?
There were some times during the season where I would just try to push through it in practice and try to so I could get out on the field in games, but it was just lingering for a while, never fully recovered. So once I got home and just dedicated all my time to rehabbing it, um, it must have been a few months before I was 100% running full speed and was able to do everything that I can now.
So how did it happen? Did it happen in a game or it happened
Yeah,
in practice?
so the Indiana All-Star game was at the end of the summer, and happened out there, was playing DN. So
Oh, you were playing defense in that game when it happened?
yeah,
Are you going to play defense in college? Or are you just going to kind of focus on tight end?
no, it'll just be tight end. I was just selected at DN for that game because they wanted to use me in a position that was going to be used more, and the tight end wasn't going to be used as much. So they just put me at DN for it.
So before the injury, how was the whole experience being around the best players in the state?
Uh, I mean, a lot of the D1 kids had already enrolled at college, so like the top guys weren't really there. I was the only
Yep.
Division 1 player, but it was a nice experience that whole week of practice going against some talented offensive linemen, and learning about the defense so that it could help me on the offensive side was good as well.
Yeah, because if you know both sides, then you can kind of it helps you a little bit. It helps evolve your brain a little bit in that aspect of things.
Exactly.
So what have you been your key takeaways since coming to Miami? Like what are three things that you've kind of took away that were like, I did not know that at all?
I mean, all the different um I mean, we'll have one run play, but if the DNs line up in a 9-6-7 4-eye 5, I mean, there's so many different things you can do within just one play, depending on what look the defense is giving you. Been the biggest thing. And then just different breaks at the top of my routes, being able to get out faster, get out in different ways to throw the defense off and get the timing right for throws. That's been a big thing as well. And then just how much that I don't know has been like even the kids that have been playing football for a long time don't know a lot of the stuff coming in because it's college football. It's a whole new world than high school. So I'm learning a lot along with the other more experienced players. They're also learning a lot that they didn't know either. So there's so much to learn, and I'm just eager to learn it all.
Yeah, exactly. What are you most excited about when the season starts?
Um, I mean, I'm excited about all of it. I just love playing football. I'm not looking ahead. I'm be where your feet are. So I'm right now. I'm focusing on our workout tomorrow. I'm focused on being ready for Saturday. I'm focused on learning the installs that we have in right now. So I'm not gonna get ahead of myself, but it's football. I'm just excited about football.
So have you always loved the game growing up? Like was that football was always a sport that you liked a lot? You just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's football, like it's American football. How do you be a born American and not love football?
Yeah, exactly.
But I never really watched it too much just because we're never around the TV. Like I was always out at school or out at practice, so never had a lot of time to watch football. So but I've always wanted to play. I've always had an interest in playing, and one thing my dad always told me was that if I'm athletic enough and if I'm physical enough and I have that mental toughness, then all I need is 1 year, and I can play football at the next level. And he's said that since I was like in middle school. So it's kind of funny how to work out.
Yeah, it actually came to life. That's insane.
Exactly.
Because I don't think there's any player in the country that's had the journey to get to college football like you have. Because most of these guys have been playing since they were like sixth, fifth grade, and you just suit up 1 year. You're like, I'm gonna try this football thing out, and then you get a bunch of offers, and you're like, whoa, like I don't. What was the like coolest experience when you were like going around on your recruitment, being like, okay, I think this is like actually a legit possibility that I can actually do this.
I mean, I'm not I'm not a guy with like a big ego, always wanting all the eyes on me. Like that's never been my personality. I'm more just like stay like focused on myself and do my thing and just keep to myself basically. But it was pretty interesting how every single school you went to made you feel like the center of attention or made you the center of attention.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool experience for sure going through my recruitment. And just meeting so many different people on my visits and meeting like the number one rated player in Minnesota. I met him in Louisiana at LSU. Like we lived in the same state, but I
Yeah.
never connected with him until we were on the exact opposite side of the country, all the way down south. So that was pretty cool. All the new people that I met and friends that I made along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. You just, you meet people that are trying to do the same thing as you, play at the highest level of college football as possible. I just think it's very cool what you're doing, dude. Like, I'm honestly super happy for you. I'm going to have to go over and see you at a game, bro. So have you been in the stadium yet?
Oh yeah, yeah, been there a few times now.
What do you think of like the whole atmosphere of just, like, the turnover chain, like all that stuff? Like, because I'm sure you've
Yeah,
seen that. So,
yeah. So we don't have the turnover chain anymore with the new coaching staff. They got rid of that, and we're shifting the culture just to hard work and not being about all that flashy. Still that swagger, still that same swagger and toughness and grittiness, but we don't need a chain or anything to show for it.
yeah.
But I went to the FSU game last fall, and that was a really cool experience. It was a sold out crowd. Had a ton of energy there. Game outcome wasn't exactly what we had hoped for,
Yeah.
but it's still a really cool atmosphere and showed the support from the fans and can't wait to play in it myself.
How excited are you to be a part of that FSU and Miami rivalry? Because that's probably the biggest rivalry in all of college football.
Right, one of them for sure. I'm extremely excited. I remember Florida and FSU recruiting me, and it was kind of just interesting seeing it from all the three different perspectives of the
Yeah.
Florida schools. And now I get to play against them and hopefully come with a W every time.
So when you were at FSU, what was the difference between them and Miami when you were visiting?
I never visited FSU, but they had invited me, they had offered me, they were always on me about getting me to campus, but I just never could make it work. Tallahassee, or I don't know, wherever they are.
Yeah, Tallahassee. Yeah,
It,
got it.
yeah, it isn't too wasn't too appealing, for me. And at that point in my recruitment, I was kind of locked in with the Miami, LSU, and Iowa. So they were a little later, which I mean, maybe if I had looked at them earlier, I still don't think I would have changed my decision at all. But maybe I would have looked at them a little bit deeper.
Yeah, yeah. So those are your four when you didn't like narrow those four down before committing.
I never visited FSU. I never really considered them too heavily.
No, like Iowa, like LSU, like those two. Like, did you like cross one out before you committed, or you just committed with those schools as options still?
Just those three were kind of my big three, and then I just committed.
Oh, okay. So were
I
you
never
just
really
relieved when you committed? You're like, okay, this is like the madness is over.
right, because I still had all the other coaches reaching out, talking to all the other coaches. I never published a list of my top schools ever. I just kind of went through my recruitment, did all the interviews, did all the phone calls, did all that stuff,
Yeah.
but never really publicly announced that I was focusing on certain number of schools. So once I committed, it was definitely a relief, and definitely I was just excited about the choice that I made.
Yeah, I mean, I'm stoked for you. I think it's going to be a very big opportunity for you. You have a lot of potential. I mean, you're 6'6", you're huge. Like, and you've never played football like that. As a coach, that would be like alarming to me. I'd be like, whoa, I want to get that guy on my team like right now and see what he can do.
I appreciate that.
So is there anything you want to say before I kind of close everything out here?
I mean, biggest thing about people when they look at Miami is like how they did last year and they're never going to be back, whatever. Like, I mean, this coaching staff is the biggest reason why I came here. I believe that they're the best coaching staff in the country, and how we have the potential to turn this thing around. And with my recruiting class that came in, we're extremely talented and extremely dedicated to working and pushing the older guys. And it's just an exciting time for us, and can't wait to show what we have.
I'm excited for you, man.
Thank you.
But this has been Jackson Carver, tight end of University of Miami Hurricanes. He's going to be making his first season this year. But I appreciate you guys tuning in to today's episode of the Take Podcast. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson, and you guys have a good one. Thanks for tuning in.